In Lagos, power does not fall quietly. It trembles first. Then it cracks. And when it finally breaks, it buries blood with it. The night the letter arrived, thunder ruled the sky. Inside a dim prison cell, Chief Okafor, once the titan of industry, sat on a narrow bed, his shadow longer than his legacy. The guard slid the envelope through iron bars. No name, no stamp, only fate. Chief's fingers trembled as he opened it. Inside were 5 words. You chose the wrong daughter. The storm outside roared, but it was nothing compared to the storm that entered his chest. Across the city, in an abandoned church swallowed by darkness, candles flickered against broken, stained glass. A young woman stood at the altar, her face identical to Adaura's, but her eyes colder, sharper, forged in silence. Rain traced the outline of her reflection in the shattered window. You feared the wrong child, father, she whispered. And somewhere in the distance, thunder answered. Days later, the Okafor empire began to bleed. Contracts dissolved overnight. Board members resigned without explanation. Millions vanished from secured accounts. In her high-rise office overlooking Lagos Island, Adaura stared at documents bearing her signature. Perfect, precise, impossible. Her biometric authentication had been used. Her DNA, her identity, her name, but not her will. She didn't need to say the name aloud. There was only one person who shared her blood, one person who shared her face, one person who had been erased. At night, her phone vibrated. Unknown number. You lived the life meant for me. Another message followed. You wore my name. And then, balance must be restored. The screen glowed against her pale face. For the first time, Adaura felt something she had never allowed herself to feel: guilt. The truth came like a confession forced from heaven. Pastor Emmanuel returned, older, weaker, carrying a leather journal thick with secrets. He had lied. Years ago, the prophecy had never demanded sacrifice. It had warned of denial. The first daughter denied, the journal read, will become the father's end. Not the one who lived in the mansion, the one hidden, the one whispered about, the one erased from photographs, the one who watched her twin grow up through the cracks of secrecy. Kelvin uncovered the strategy behind the destruction. This was not emotional revenge. This was architecture. The twin had aligned herself with Chief Okafor's biggest rival. She wasn't lashing out. She was dismantling, piece by piece, with patience, with calculation, with purpose. When Adaura visited her father in prison, she saw something new in him. Not anger, not pride, fear. She always had your mother's fire, he muttered. But fear had shaped that fire. Fear of prophecy, fear of shame, fear of losing power, and fear makes monsters of men. The final confrontation came under another storm, an abandoned factory, rain pouring through broken roofing sheets, metal beams groaning in the wind. The twins stood by a shattered window, lightning framing her silhouette like judgment itself. Do you know what it feels like? She asked, her voice breaking beneath the thunder. To grow up watching your own face live another life? Adaura stepped forward. No guards, no power, no shield. Then take it, she said. Take the name, take the company, take everything. The twins' eyes searched her, looking for mockery, for superiority, for pity. But she found none, only understanding, and perhaps regret. Sirens wailed in the distance. Kelvin had called the police. The empire had collapsed. And somewhere inside a prison infirmary, Chief Okafor's heart gave in to the weight of consequences. The machine flatlined, not because of prophecy, but because of choices. At the funeral, Lagos society gathered in black silk and whispered judgment. Adaora stood tall. The twins stood beside her, handcuffed. Two reflections, two destinies, two daughters of the same mistake. Now we are both firstborn, the twin whispered. Adaora turned slowly. No, she replied. Now we are both daughters. For the first time in her life, the twins' hardened gaze softened. Not victory, not defeat. Something deeper, recognition. But the story did not end there. Across the cemetery, a journalist opened an anonymous envelope. Inside were documents, old ones, decades old, names of powerful men, other families, other daughters, other prophecies. This was not one family's curse. It was a pattern, a system built on fear. And fear always repeats itself until someone refuses to bow to it.